Toy Story 4, this movie is directed by Josh Cooley, is the fourth movie in what we thought was a trilogy, is now a quadrilogy, is now a franchise, Toy Story, and it follows a new story after the ending of 3, where they pass on the toys from Andy to Bonnie. Bonnie now has they're her toys, and it follows a story through that. I'm not going to get into it, because they basically just go on vacation and shit happens from there. I won't really explain what happens during the movie. But I was hesitant because it's the fourth movie in such a perfect trilogy. Going into this movie, my thoughts were, holy shit, this movie's probably going to be good, but it's probably going to be unnecessary. And I still kind of have that thought, but it is damn good, and that is the one thing to know going into this movie. It's fucking good. It really is. It's really damn good. Let's start off with the easy stuff. The characters and the voices are phenomenal once again. They are what bring you back into every scene. It what makes you so much more enjoyable. Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, the whole crew. You added Keanu Reeves, you added Key and Peele, you added a bunch of new members to this perfect cast already. And it just makes every scene just perfectly... Every character's perfect, pretty much. And that's something that's just going to draw you in the entire time, as well as the whole movie itself is just so fun, it's enjoyable, it is very, very funny. I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was, because I feel like as much as the Toy Story movies have been funny, they're not like the top of my list of jokes. It's just because they're so emotional and so well done. This movie is pretty damn funny. Keanu Reeves' character Duke Kaboom is hilarious. He's a scene stealer for sure. And that's another thing, as well as I just mentioned with the rest of the movies. It's emotional again. It hits the same notes that the rest of the movies did. It hits you on those emotional cores that's giving you such a great message, and I think that's what makes the Toy Story franchise so perfect. The animation looked great again. I mean, the Josh Cooley's direction is awesome. There's some scenes that really look perfect, like they look almost real. There's some really nice looking colors in this movie. The animation is just awesome. It's Pixar. What else do you expect? I think it's just such a perfect movie for kids. Any of the four movies are just, they tell you such a great message. They deliver you for every single member of the family, whether it's your dad, whether it's your mum, whether it's your brother, your sister, or you. Everyone's going to enjoy this movie. They're very fun. And I felt the magic again. And I really was happy that I felt that magic, because it's such a hard thing to recreate. I know there was a big gap between 2 and 3 as well, but it's such a hard thing to recreate as well from 3 and 4, and they did it. As well as they added new characters, but new themes. There's like a horror-ish kind of theme in this movie because of who the villains are, Gabby Gabby and her kind of ventriloquist dolls. They're pretty terrifying. I feel like if I was a little kid, I'd be a bit on edge with them on there. No, they're not going to make you scream and run out of the cinema, but they're probably a very good villain. And in the horror-ish tones, I think it was a great touch. Now, when it came to everything hitting right, like it was just, it's your perfect kids movie. It teaches you a lesson, which is huge. That's what all animation should be doing, other than just making you laugh or enjoying the story. They need to hit you emotionally and tell you a story that actually matters, and they do again. The characters are all there. The story's there. It's really fun to watch. Bo Peep comes back and she kills it. She's really cool, and that's kind of the added layer that they continued on telling that story from 3 to 4 is her kind of role in that and how it changes. And the only flaws that I could really find aren't even real flaws. There's one flaw that I think is just a flaw, and the other flaws are because of what the first trilogy did. And the first flaw, and the actual only flaw that I could really find in this movie, is there's a lot of change of plan. There's a scene at the end where Woody says, "Guys, change of plan." I swear, I'm not sure if he said that line or if it just happened, but that happened at least 7 times where the movie, they're like, change of plan, and I was just like, come on! You're like, get to the end! Like, not get to the end, but get there. They're trying to do something, and something keeps getting in the way, and it got to a point where I'm like, holy shit. There's a lot of things getting in the way, and I get it, because that's how you're going to make the story go on longer, and that's how you're going to, make it, you have to for the story's sake, but there was a lot of them that got to a point where I'm like, alright, can we get to the end here, because this is ridiculous. And the other flaws that kind of flirted with my rating and changed my rating was it still felt unnecessary. That was the biggest thing for me. Because 3 ended so perfectly, it really did feel unnecessary that we were watching Toy Story 4. That was something that I had to kind of adjust to, and I've only just come to the thing, well, they've done it, I've got to accept it. It's not a trilogy anymore, because that was the flaw during this movie, and I was like, okay, Bonnie's kind of disregarding Andy in a way, which is not his favourite toy, and I'm like, well, that was a big deal. Bonnie disregarding Woody was like, she wanted Woody. At the end of 3, Andy didn't want to give up, but she really wanted Woody, and then she doesn't really want Woody now, and I'm like, that was kind of annoying, but I get it. It's a kid, they're going to change their mind all the time. But just the whole film, I felt like 3 ended so perfectly, so it felt unnecessarily to me, and just just that kind of like accepting of yes, we're seeing 4 was something that I had to get rid of, and I kind of walked out going unnecessary, and it kind of put me down the move. But as soon as I went away from though, it happened, and I can't judge it for what happened on the first trilogy of the first 3 films. It's something that I overlooked now, and it's such a great film if you can just go, well, they're doing it. And that's what I had to do. I have to go, well, they're doing it, because I know 3 ended so well, but we're doing it. And there's stuff that happens, it's unnecessary. They're doing another emotional ending. It's unnecessary. We wrapped it up so well in 3, but they're doing it, and it hits as well. Not as hard, doesn't hit as hard, but it hits again. And the other thing as well that kind of played into the 3, the new characters take away a lot of the screen time from the original characters. The only you see a lot more time, obviously, from Woody and Bo Peep, because they're the main arc of this thing, but you don't see a lot of Woody and Buzz kind of going at it. You see Buzz on his kind of side quests to try to make it into the main quest, but the rest of the gang, your Rexes, your Jessies, your Bullseyes, your Slinkies, your Potato Heads, they are very like, they're side characters in this film, and that was kind of like, I would have liked to see them more, but that's at the same time, that's what the first 3 movies did. They're introducing more characters. So that's another thing where it's like, if this is the first movie in the franchise, this is fucking awesome. But it's because you ended with such a perfect note, and then you gave me these characters, and now you're not using them as much. It kind of flirts with that. But that's kind of the only problem I have with this movie, and it's not even really a problem, because it's not about a problem about this movie. It's a problem about this movie being made after the perfect ending of 3, and that was kind of why I was like, well, this is like, they should have ended it with 3 even after seeing the movie. But I've accepted they did 4, and for that reason I've accepted it. We're done, and I'm going to give Toy Story an A. It was really hard for me to grade this one, because those flaws originally put it down to a B plus. I'm like, is it worth the A? Is it worth being like, this is the top rating I can give it? Because it is awesome, and I kept thinking about it, I'm like, this movie's too good for me not to give it an A. I know they ended 3 so perfectly. I know that, but I have to overlook that and give that A, because it fucking deserves it. If they didn't end 3 the way it ended 3, and they just ended with this movie, for sure an A. So why wouldn't I give it an A? Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure you do check out this film, because I really recommend it, especially if you're a big fan of the first 3. Even if you're not, I mean, go and watch them, because they're awesome. But this is such a great movie as well. It's probably, I think, my least favourite of the 4, which shows how good this trilogy really is. Pretty much all would get an A if I was rating them. If I'm doing a rewind review, I can bring out the A pluses, and probably Toy Story 3 would get one. But that is it, guys. Make sure you do subscribe, like, comment. But of course, guys, have a good one.